Welcome to my channel, Just Being Jewel. I am Jewel, and today I wanted to talk about my September TBR. We are actually already a couple days into September because I am perpetually behind on everything. But I did still want to talk about the books that I want to read in September. Still got to set goals, still got to manifest those dreams, and let's just dive right into it. The first book is a holdover actually from my August TBR. It is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. And I'm not going to talk about this book in detail because if you are watching my small, tiny, lowly little channel, you probably already know about this book because it is very popular on BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram, all book media. It is a very well-loved book. I'm about 50 pages into it and I'm really enjoying it so far, and I think I'm going to breeze through it rather quickly. But yes, this is the first one that I'm going to read. And the next book that I'm going to read is for my fantasy book club. I joined a fantasy book club in St. Petersburg, Florida, through the bookstore called Tombola Books, support independent bookstores. And that book is The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simone Jimenez. I don't really know anything about this. I am trying to go into it not knowing anything about it because the last two books for book club, I went into the book knowing stuff about the book. Like, a couple months ago, the book, I read the back of it, and it was total spoilers for the actual contents of the book. And then the other one, I knew that it was an Iliad retelling, and I think that marred my perception of it a bit. And so I decided I didn't want to know anything. All I know is this artwork is really cool. And then also, when you open up the inside, there's really cool artwork over here too. So, cool artwork, that's all I know, and I'm excited to dive into it. It is like 544 pages, so it's probably going to take me a hot minute, but let's do it. Making friends at book club. The third book is Terciel and Eleanor by Garth Nix. It is the sixth and, as of this moment, final book in the Abhorsen series. I have always loved the Abhorsen series, and I decided this year to do a reread and then read all the books that have come out since I last read it. So I've actually never read this one before. This one is all new to me. But I do know Terciel is the original character, first character of the first book, Sabriel's father. So that's not a spoiler. You get his name literally, I think, within the first few chapters of Sabriel, the first book. The concept of Sabriel in the Abhorsen series is it's a take on necromancy, but it's like the necromancers are the good guys this time. Well, they can be the good guys. There are still some bad necromancers. But the Abhorsen specifically is a necromancer who uses a set of bells that they wear on a bandolier to bind the dead to the dead and keep them in the realm of the dead. And there's different gates that they have to get through to send them through to the world of the dead. And it's the Abhorsen's passed on through bloodline as well. So a lot of the Abhorsen series actually follows a very wide span of time. There's even one where it takes place like 600 years before the first book. So it's kind of all over the place story-wise, but I like that each book can almost sometimes be its own story. I'm here for that, and I really enjoy these books. They hold a special place in my heart. I think the world building is incredible. I think the take on the magic and the magic systems and the royal bloodline and the politics is it's interesting. The only complaint I've ever had about these books is that the romance isn't done well, but I'm not reading fantasy books for the romance. If I wanted romance, I'd read a romance book. They also have a talking cat, magical cat in them, which is one of my absolute favorite tropes because I'm a crazy cat lady. So I do really love these books. I'm almost kind of sad for this journey of rereading these books that I liked as a teenager to end. But yes, Garth Nix and his Abhorsen series hold a special place in my heart, and I'm excited to read it. And the final book that I think that I can plausibly potentially read in the month of September is going to be Jim Butcher's Death Masks. This is the fifth book in the Dresden Files. I was not a fan of the Dresden Files at first. My partner is a very huge fan of them, and he kept asking me to read them. He's like, you love fake courts, you love fake politics, you love all these sorts of fantasy elements, you love urban fantasy. I don't know why you don't like the Dresden Files, why you don't like Jim Butcher. And the first three books were not great and they were a little rough to get through. But the fourth book, Summer Night, completely flipped the script for me. From the beginning, I was very hooked. It immediately started on those fae politics, and I enjoyed the fourth book a lot, actually. So I am hoping that it will continue to grip me and it will get better with time. I know sometimes authors maybe take a little bit of time to come into their writing style, and I hope that's the case with Jim Butcher's first 3 books of the Dresden Files. For those of you who have never read the Dresden Files, to give you kind of a summary and idea, premise of what's going on, it is about this wizard who lives in the city of Chicago. His name is Harry Dresden, and wizardry isn't popular or well known. It's not think normal day Chicago and there's just some guy out there who says he's a wizard. But he actually is. He is magical, and he has the ability to summon spells, and he gets himself caught up in some fae court politics. But he basically says, hey, I'm a wizard for hire. I'm like a PI, private detective sort of situation. And he opens up an office in Chicago and is taking cases. So that's how the series starts out. I don't want to say any more about what Death Masks specifically may potentially be about, because I feel like you have to read the first 4 novels to know the context, and I don't want to spoil anything for people who do want to read it. It's very urban fantasy noir. It's got vampires, it's got werewolves, it's got fae courts, it's got pixies, it has all the politics of the fae courts too. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is definitely a series for you. Don't judge it by the first 3 books though. If you're not feeling the first book, maybe just like read a summary or watch a video of somebody summarizing the first 3 books and then just go straight to the 4th. I don't think it ruins any of the story to go straight to the 4th book, but that's just my personal opinion. And then I have a sort of like bonus book that I know I won't get to. I barely finished the books that I already put on my TBR, but I have several flights lined up this month to go see My Chemical Romance in different cities. And when you're on a flight, there's nothing to do but read. So if for some reason I actually manage to finish all 4 of those books, my bonus book, my next one kind of queuing up, is going to be Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. And this book is the 2nd book in the Dreamer trilogy. So the Dreamer trilogy is a spin-off to Maggie Stiefvater's Raven Cycle series. So I can't say a lot about this book or the Dreamer trilogy without also spoiling the Raven Cycle series. But if you have read the Raven Cycle series, this follows Ronan Lynch and Ronan Lynch's gift, I shall say, the particular thing that he can do. If you've never read the Raven Cycle series, it is young adult, and it follows this girl Blue, who is the daughter of a family of psychics, but she's the only one who is not psychic. And she kind of gets caught up with this group of friends who are looking for a dead Welsh king, because if they find the dead Welsh king, he will grant a wish. And lots of shenanigans ensue, and the first book has the world's craziest plot twist. So if you haven't read the Raven series, the Raven Cycle, it's one of my favorites. It's one of my, will always hold a special place in my heart book series. So of course I'm excited to read this because next month in October, the 3rd book in the Dreamer trilogy comes out. So I want to read this so that I'm prepared for the final book and I can read it in a timely fashion before I forget what happened in the first book. So that's my bonus book that if I don't get to it this month, I'm definitely putting it high on the priority list for next month. Okay, alright, so there it is, my TBR for September. There's a lot of blue happening here. I kind of like that. Blue is one of my favorite colors. All of my kitchenware is like a baby blue color, so I'm into it. The total page count is, let me see. Okay, so my total page count without counting my bonus book, Mr. Impossible, is going to be 1,644 pages. In August, I read 1,116 pages. So it's not too much more, but it's a little bit more. So we'll see what happens. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. You don't have to like and subscribe. We're a proponent of free will here. But thank you for being here, and I'd love to hear what books you're reading in September. Bye.